Hey everyone, it's Professor Clark, and in this lecture we are going to learn more about the prepositional case. Let's start with the prepositional endings of nouns, and you have already learned this, but let's do a quick review. And you can see on the chart on this slide, on slide 2, that there's a chart of endings, which should mostly be familiar to you, but we have added the plural here. So not just the singular endings, but the plural endings. And they are divided into hard endings, soft endings, and then I've put iya, iya as their own group. Really, if you look at their endings, they are basically in the soft group. They are all soft stem nouns, but because their endings look a little bit different, we are going to have them in their own group. So hard endings for all genders are going to be yeah normally. So masculine, we can have magazine, v magazinie, neuter, okno, v oknie. Feminine, szkola, v szkolie, kniga, v knigie. Note that we have a velar stem here, but it doesn't matter. You can write yeah after any kind of consonant. And then in the plural for nouns, we're going to add ach to hard stem nouns. So v magazine ach, v oknach, v szkolach, v knigach. We just drop any vowel at the end, and then we add ach to form the prepositional plural of hard stem nouns. Now let's look at soft stem nouns. And the prepositional is pretty simple because most soft stem nouns or many soft stem nouns will have the same endings as hard stem nouns. So for masculine and neuter, once again, we're just going to add yeah, and we are going to drop any ikratkoye or mjaki znak and add yeah. So muzej v muzeje, slavar v slavarje. And note how we drop the ikratkoye or the mjaki znak and we add yeah. Morje, the sea, v morje. And it looks exactly the same because we just replace one yeah with another yeah. Where things get a little more complicated is in feminine soft stem nouns, because feminine soft stem nouns can have two forms. You can have the form that ends in ya, like nedelya, week, семья, family, tiotia, aunt, as in your mother or father's sister. Or you can have the form that ends in mjaki znak, like titrad's, notebook, plощадь, city square. And these two groups have different endings. If you have a noun that ends in ya, you are just going to replace that ya with a yeah, the same as for a hard stem noun. So семья, family, becomes v семье. However, if you have the type of noun that ends in mjaki znak, you are going to replace it with an e. So plощадь, city square, becomes na площади. And note the difference between masculine and feminine nouns that end in mjaki znak. For masculine nouns, you replace the mjaki znak with a yeah. For feminine nouns, you replace it with an e. And then for plural nouns, all soft stem plural nouns, you are going to add yach. And note how sensible this is. Ya is the soft partner of a, and so hard stem is ach, soft stem is yach. So we have v muzejach, in museums, v словарях, in dictionaries, v семьях, in families, na площадях, on city squares. A note that we have stress shift in several of these words, which I have marked here. Again, this stress shift is fairly common when you go from singular to plural or when you add an ending, especially in words of two-syllable like slavar, семья, and площадь. And finally, we have the iya, iye words. And for both feminine and neuter, they're going to go to e. So занятие becomes na занятии, in class or at class. Italia becomes v Italii, in Italy. And then for plural, we have iach. Really, we have iach again because, like I said, these are soft stem nouns. So we have na zanyatiach v versiach, in classes or at classes in versions. So that is nouns, and as I said, you already know most of this already. Next, we have the prepositional endings of adjectives. And as always with adjectives, this can look a little bit intimidating because there are many variants, but also, as always with adjectives, in fact, they are very straightforward and predictable. You don't normally have to guess with adjectives. And as you'll notice, most of the endings are actually the same. So I have, once again, divided it into hard stem, soft stem, velar stem, and husher stem. And so for hard stem, regardless of where the stress is, the masculine or neuter ending is going to be om. So v starum, v maladom. The feminine ending is going to be oi, v staroi, v maladoi. And the plural ending is going to be ich, v starich, v maladich. And notice this ch in the plural. That is the marker of the plural in both noun and adjective endings for the prepositional. And then soft stem, so words like posledny or sini, the masculine and neuter ending is going to be yem, v poslednyem. Feminine will be ye, v poslednye, and plural will be ich, v poslednich. And again, note how logical this is. So hard stem in the plural is ich with the hard ui. Soft stem is ich with a soft e. And then with the singular, we also have om and oi with the hard o. And then soft stem yem and ye with the soft ye. And o and ye are kind of a pairing in a way. They frequently alternate in Russian. They also do in English if you look out for it. This is common in lots of Indo-European languages. So just bear in mind that sometimes o and ye will alternate in Russian. Getting back to our chart, we have velar stems. And so masculine and neuter, om, v ruskom, v kakom, feminine oi, v ruskoi, v kakoi, and plural ich, v ruskich, v kakich. So they are the hard stem endings for everything except the plural, where because of the 7-letter spelling rule, we can't write I, so we write I, v ruskich, v kakich. And then finally, we have husher stems, and with husher stems, we always have to pay a special attention to stress. And so for the masculine and neuter, they will be yem for stem stressed, like хороший, v хорошем, and om for n stressed, большой, v большом. This, as you remember, is because of the 5-letter spelling rule. The same thing will happen in feminine. We have ye for stem stressed and oi for n stressed. So v хороший, v большой. And then plural will be ich, v хорош ich, v больших. And again, we will write ich, but if the preceding consonant is sh, the hard sh without a tail, which is the most common stem for husher stem adjectives, we will say ich. So while we will write хорош ich, больш ich, we will say хороших, больших. Next, let's take a look at the endings of special modifiers. And these modifier endings are going to be basically the same as adjectival endings, except that they are frequently under stress, and some things will happen because of that. So if we have what are basically soft stem modifiers, so che, whose, moi, mine, and tvoi, yours singular, the masculine and neuter ending will be yom, v chom, and notice we write ch, mягкий знак, yo, m. В моем, в твоем. The feminine will be not yoi like you might expect, but ye. В чьей, в моей, в твоей. And then the plural will be the very expected soft их. В чьих, в моих, в твоих. Наш, ваш just take the same endings as хороший. They just take the same endings as any stem-stressed adjective with a husher stem. So masculine and neuter is ем, в нашем, в вашем, feminine yi, в нашей, в вашей, and plural ich, в наших, в ваших. Again, we write ich, we say shich because of the hard sh. And then один, one or a certain, and этот, this, are a little strange because they are hard in the singular and soft in the plural. So masculine and neuter would be в одном, в этом, with an om. Feminine is в одной, в этой, with an oi. But in plural, we add the soft ich ending. В одних, в этих. Now let's talk a little bit about the prepositions that we use with the prepositional case. And remember that the prepositional case must always have a preposition. We always use the prepositional case with a preposition. Other cases can be used with or without a preposition, but the prepositional, as you might guess from its name, always has a preposition that goes with it. And there are three main prepositions that are used with the prepositional case. The first two are v and na, and they are used to indicate location. We've already encountered v or vo, and it is used to mean sort of in. We use it to indicate location inside an enclosed or bounded space. And we use it for things like rooms, buildings, cities, states, and countries. So we can say, for example, в комнате, in the room, в общежитии, in the dormitory, в городе, in the city, в штате, in the state, в России, in Russia. На, on the other hand, is used for open spaces and activities, so it's the equivalent of on or at. So we can say, for example, на столе, on the table, на площади, at the city square, на занятии, in or at class, на русском языке, in Russian. So a language, язык, is an activity. And so to say in Russian, we actually say like at Russian, на русском языке, in Russian, на английском языке, in English. The new preposition that you haven't seen yet that is used with the prepositional is o or op. And that is used to mean about, as in I'm talking about something. And it comes, as you can see, in two forms. And we use op, or be, before words beginning with the unyotated vowels, so vowels that have no y sound at the beginning. So we use it before these unyotated vowels a, I, O, U, E. So the hard vowels plus E. Note there's no I because I can never begin a word. You can only begin a word with E. But E is unyotated, so we're going to use op in front of it, even though it's soft. Most other words we're going to use o. So we just use op before the vowels a, I, O, U, E. Some examples are «О чем вы говорите?» What are you talking about? Мы говорим о новом учебнике. We're talking about the new textbook. Note we use «о» before the word «новом», but if we had just said we're talking about the textbook, we would have said «Мы говорим об учебнике» because it starts with «у». Or we could say «О ком вы говорите?» Whom are you talking about? Мы говорим об этой новой студентке. And note that we use об before этой, But if we had just said we are talking about the new student, we would have said Мы говорим о новой студентке. So there you have your overview of the prepositional case. There are still more things that could be learned about the prepositional case, but what you just covered in this lecture will get you through about 85-90% of uses of the prepositional case.